In New York City, these are like our coral reefs. They don't move, but they do a lot for our harbors. We want to see them growing large, we want to see them surviving, and so far they look really good. I geek out about these things, so this is like super fun. I love it. We have these field stations around New York City. So I get the fun job of going out into the field, doing work alongside the community, putting oysters back into our harbors and engaging them into the work that we do. They essentially pull in water from the water column. They take in algae, that's their food, and then everything that is poop, they wrap it up inside of a mucus, and that creates this heavy particle, which then falls down to the bottom of our harbors. They develop these reefs, these 3D structures that fish and other critters like to hide and find shelter and food, and clearly these minnows love the reefs. Oysters act as a natural barrier between our harbors and our land. And so what happens is, if you imagine an oyster reef in water and a large wave just passing by, before it hits land, that oyster reef would essentially slow down that wave energy so that once it hits land, it doesn't cause as much destruction. With time, we began to over-harvest those oysters to the point where they couldn't repopulate on their own. I grew up in New York City, so right in Brooklyn, and a part of the reason why I wanted to be a marine conservationist was because of the work that I was doing with my dad. So my father is a fisherman. We used to go crabbing at places around New York City, and I was his wingman. He would teach me about fish, and that essentially planted that seed where I was like, okay, this is something that's super cool. I want to do this. It was fun because I get to visit some of the places that I used to visit as a kid, getting to do sort of like marine science in the place that I love, which is New York City.